the Ascent. I'm Molly Carmel, and this is the podcast I always wish existed. A bite sized, on the ground, spiritual note that can shift your thinking and your outlook on life. Because sometimes that's all it takes, a small shift in what we choose to believe to make our day better and to make us a little more awake, alive, and ascending. So, today's like a beef episode. It's a beef episode because walk in the spiritual path imperfectly, just can really get fired up around what we call spiritual bypassing. And I want to talk about a phrase, well, two phrases that sound so spiritual, but can get so misconstrued and mess with our actual serenity and spiritual path. Here they are. It's all happening for a reason, and it's kissing cousin. It's happening for me. It's not happening to me. Those are, I mean, well, really, we're just going to be on my soapbox today, but in the best way possible. So I was talking to my friend, one of my spiritual sisters the other day, who's just going through it. Like life is just being thrown at her. She has a bunch of kids. She's starting a new business. She's ending a business. She's married and that comes with its own, like, it's just life. She's just, her life is really, really lifey right now. And she was like, I'm fine. I'm fine. Its own problem. We can do a podcast on that. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's all happening for me. It's all happening for me. And I don't play poker well. I do not play poker well. It's my best and my worst trait, which means like I can't hold it in. And so like my whole body tensed when she said this. And like, anyway, and it's not because I don't believe that there's a higher order to life. I mean, I really, really do. That's why I have this podcast, for goodness sakes. But just sometimes I really believe that these phrases, like it's all happening for a reason, it's all happening for me, like they just become a real spiritual bypass. And like they just sound so holy and wise. But here's for you. I'm getting off my soapbox. I'm here to help you today. Like the problem is that underneath these phrases can be this great attempt to try to tidy up mystery, right? To try to make something completely unbearable and really unfortunate and sometimes even tragic make sense. And when we do that, we make it about us, right? Like every storm, every loss, every heartbreak is designed for our own personal growth plan. And listen, I mean, that can feel super comforting when we're scared, right? Like, this is all in the master plan of everything working out perfectly for me, you know? And there's part of that that's true, but it can also be very invalidating, especially when what's happening to us is devastating, it's unfair, it's like beyond comprehension. And the world really feels like that sometimes to me right now. And so, when we say it's happening for me, right? We just are making an assumption that we know how life works, right? That we can trace this cosmic logic. But the truth is that like everything that's unfolding, or at least so much of what's unfolding in life, is really above our pay grade. And I think not really meant for us to understand. And I think we have an invitation in this world not to assign reason to everything, just to cultivate trust, like to stop needing every experience to make immediate sense and instead just learn how to stay open and grounded and in the middle of it, right? Just to start to believe there's meaning that maybe we don't see yet. And just to get curious instead of certain and to kind of surrender to this being above our pay grade, right? That everything's moving through everything. You know, I, the last 3 years of my life, maybe four, oh, well, I don't know, whatever, like this COVID time for me It was really dark and really, really rough and really didn't make a lot of time. It was full of heartbreak and loss and heartbreak and loss and heartbreak and loss. And as I sit here with you right now, it actually makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I think in a way it was all happening for a reason. I mean, it was all happening for a reason, but not like, well, now I'm rich and famous and now I have love again. I mean, some of that is true, but honestly, that all happening for a reason and all happening for me, like I had to create a different definition of all happening for a reason, and certainly a different definition of all happening for me. That time in my life, which I'm sure we'll talk about a lot during this podcast, made me more compassionate, made me more open-minded, and I think most importantly for me, made me have to have a very different spiritual devotion, which grounded me, which became my tether. You know, like life's not asking us to figure it all out. Quite the opposite. Life is really asking us to meet it and to stand in the mystery with a steady heart and a willingness to listen and a willingness to grow outside of the boundaries of property, money, prestige, success, right? And here, I just want to say one more thing, which is really going to counter my argument, but I'm just here for all sides of the argument. Sometimes saying it's happening for me can be really powerful, right? It can really be a mindset shift from victimhood, right, to possibility. But again, in order for that to work, we have to expand our definition of what for me means. That's what I had to do in my dark night of the soul, because it doesn't always mean what feels good or easy or shiny on Instagram, right? It doesn't mean money, success. Certainly doesn't mean the ending we hope for, right? And sometimes it just means like the heartbreak that cracks us open, or, this holy lesson that we learn in the dark and that we can only learn in the dark. And that's sometimes what our soul is here to do. Like that's just sometimes the contract we sign when we come into this world. And so, the real work is to hold both of those truths that, yeah, life is happening for us, but not always in the way that our ego would choose, that's for sure. And that's the part that's way above our pay grade. And my pocket sage, Tara Brock, my pocket sages are these amazing teachers that I just hold with me in my pocket. I've met Tara Brock. I mean, I don't think she could pick me out of a lineup, but I've met her. And she writes one of her blogs. I love this blog. And she's an amazing teacher and she's a Buddhist and she's just incredible. And she, in this blog called Inviting Mara to Tea, she tells the story of the Buddha who was often visited by Mara, who's the embodiment of fear and greed and doubt. And the cool thing about the Buddha is that instead of banishing the Mara, right, or pretending he wasn't there, the Buddha would just calmly say, I see you. I see you, Mara. And then he'd invite him to sit down, pour him tea, and listen. Imagine. And so in this blog, she writes that the moment when we say softly, I see you, Mara, we are no longer under his spell. The simple act of recognizing what is happening within us is the beginning of freedom. We invite what's difficult to tea, not to fix it, but to make room for it. And in that room, compassion naturally arises. One more time for those of you in the back. The moment when we softly say, I see you, Mara, we are no longer under his spell. The simple act of recognizing what is happening within us is the beginning of freedom. We invite what's difficult to tea, not to fix it, but to make room for it. And in that room, compassion naturally arises. That's like really what it means to trust the process, not label things as good or bad for us or against us, but just to stay present enough to meet these things with awareness and like let them unfold naturally. So, our word of the day, this is a biggie, is trust. Trust is the bridge between surrender and strength. It really is. It's the willingness to believe that even and especially when things are dark, They can still be for us. We just need to expand what for us means. Trust is knowing that we can walk through painful things and still come out whole, or maybe even change for the better. That's been my experience. And that quiet knowing that we can handle what is in front of us, we can ask for help, we can keep our heart open through it all. That's trust. It doesn't mean everything's okay. It means that we can redefine okay to include healing and uncertainty and grace. So maybe instead of saying it's all happening for a reason, we say something gentler, truer. This is happening, and I'm willing to trust it, right? Trust isn't blind faith. It's not bypassing the pain or forcing a smile through the tears. Trust is grounded. It's like lived. It's like solid. It says like, I may not understand this, but I can stay with it. I can ask for help. I can handle this, right? I can handle this, especially when it's hard. And trust knows that things might not look how we want them to, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. And it means we're being shaped or stretched or strengthened in ways we can't see. And it means that life is happening for us, but on a soul level, not just for like our comfort and our prestige, but for our becoming, for our ascending. And it's an active thing, trust. Promise you that. It's what lets us breathe through uncertainty and reach out and keep showing up, honestly. Because when we do that, then life begins to reveal its meaning, and not as a neat, answer, but as a living relationship. So here's my question for you today. Where in your life have you been desperately trying to decide if something's like for you or against you when the invitation might just mean to trust it? And what would it look like today to expand your definition of for me, to include mystery and darkness and this higher order that might be working on your behalf, even if you can't see it? That's the work, my friends. So thanks for climbing with me today. And remember, we don't have to understand everything to be shaped by it. We just have to stay awake and honest and willing to trust. And so until next time, I am here rooting you on through the chaos and the still.